Hi, it's Busiswaah, and it is a beautiful Monday morning. I just finished my album. I just submitted it for mastering, and I felt like I just needed to get something off my chest. In the years between 2013 and 2019, I was in not one, but two abusive relationships. The first was with Sfiso Mazibuko, who abused me physically, psychologically, and emotionally. The second was with Katlego Langeni, who is the father of my child, and he abused me physically, emotionally, financially. Not only while we were in a relationship, he also came after me about 4 months after our breakup to beat me up once again for seeing me out with someone else. I'm not making this video to talk about these two individuals. I'm making this video to address a few things, particularly about gender-based violence, but also to talk to women and girls who have or who may ever find themselves in those situations. When I first got hit by a man, as in a man first laid his hand on me, my first thoughts were not anger, but pity. I was in love, and I thought that the person that I was in love with was going through some things, and I felt I needed to help them get through those things. I tried different things during the relationships, and from therapy to anger management classes to speaking with the elders to prayer, to education and information sharing, I really thought that abuse is something that you can get through with your partner. I'm here to say to ladies who are in abusive relationships or who will ever come across that situation, God forbid, you can't. It's not your place. It's not your responsibility. It's not your job to change an abuser. When I was in an abusive relationship more than once, initially I kept it a secret. I didn't tell anyone because I not only wanted to protect the person I was with at the time, I also didn't want anybody to think that I am weak. How could confident, strong, empowered Busiswaah be in an abusive relationship? I've since come to learn that it happens to anyone. Anyone in any status of life, from all walks of life, any race. It happens to CEOs and doctors. It happens to nurses and teachers. It happens to powerful artists like myself. I was going out and performing for thousands at shows, sometimes immediately after I had cried or immediately after I had been slapped, pretty much. This happened to me many times, and my focus was to just go out there and put on a brave face, put on a smile, put on a lovely couple's image. And I was ashamed that I would now turn around and tell people, no, actually, it's not a beautiful, we're not a good couple at all, because the relationship is toxic and I am being abused. I felt like something about it was my fault. There were many things I felt like I needed to change about myself to stop the abuse. I realize now that it's not me. It is not your fault. You do not deserve to be abused. Nobody deserves to be abused. Because you are weaker physically in your relationship does not give anybody a right to manipulate you, to guilt trip you, especially not to beat you up. During these relationships, another thing that really made me stay was the fact that I was a public figure and it would just be pure entertainment for everyone. You know, if people knew what was happening in my personal life, it wouldn't affect them the way it affects me, my friends, my family, my loved ones. It would just be a form of entertainment. You know, people will make jokes about it and then move on. And so I felt like I have to go through it alone. I felt like I can't involve anyone because it will hang over my career and somehow hinder my career. I have now come to learn that because it's not my fault, I don't have to carry it as a burden when someone is being abusive to me. I don't have to protect them. I don't have to lie for them. I don't have to even entertain the justifications that they bring for the reasons why they would abuse me. And there are many justifications. I've come to learn that abusers will create any kind of reason to justify why they have to be abusive, why they feel entitled to anything from your body to your space to your mind. And most of the time, these justifications are just reasons for them to feel like they are not monsters. Abusers hate being called monsters. They want everyone around them to believe that she's crazy, she provoked me, she's bitter, she doesn't want to stop doing this and that and the other thing. I caught her there and I found her here. And they bring all of these reasons for why they can lay a hand on you. But I've learned that all of these are reasons to make themselves feel better for something that they know that is wrong. And they know that no woman has to take it. No woman has to stand for it. Abusers know that if they find different reasons to justify their behavior, then the people around them will continue to support them, will continue to pity them, will continue to give them work, and will continue to believe that they are worthy of empathy and sympathy from the community, while believing that the woman surely must have done something to deserve it. I'm sitting here today to tell you that if you are in an abusive relationship, and if you ever find yourself in one, you have to realize and know and understand that you have done nothing to deserve it. You do not deserve it. You have to walk away for your own safety. Gender-based violence is a topic that's going around now a lot more, that's being spoken of a lot more, because a lot more people are coming out, a lot more people are speaking out about the abuses they have to go through, and society collectively is realizing, especially in South Africa, that we have a very serious problem. We have a crisis on our hands. I'm not here saying that I'm going to make a difference or there's anything that I can do to change that situation, but I'm here to speak to the women who feel like they have to be there. I'm fortunate because at least I had financial security. Victims stay in abusive relationships for many different reasons. Some have nowhere to go, no housing, no income. Some have children that they want to consider, and they decide that having the family unit is better for the children than not having a family unit at all. I tell you, the best thing I have done is remove my son and myself from an abusive situation and raise him in a loving environment. I don't regret this, and I don't think that I will ever be sorry for having done that. In fact, I'll probably thank God that I gained the strength and the courage to raise my son in an environment of love and warmth and kindness and gentleness, rather than to stay in a family unit and have this picture perfect family where suffering was happening behind the scenes. I'm here to say, if you are going through gender-based violence in your life, walk away from that situation. Leave that situation. If you have any kind of way, tell your friends, tell your family. You never know who is willing to help you. The best thing I ever did for myself was tell the people in my private circles what was happening and what had been happening. And that set me free. I found support. I had a friend even go and buy me groceries because I didn't feel like going to the shop. I was so down. I could have been in a depressive state if I didn't start telling the people in my life that yes, I have been abused multiple times, and it's continued to happen to a point where I'm scared for my life. I don't know if I'll walk outside or if I'll be in a restaurant and be followed home. I don't know if I'm safe, because the people who abused me know where I stay currently. And it helped me immensely to share this with the people around me. But now I've gotten to a point where I'm ready to speak about it like this publicly, because a lot of people will say, you know, why now? Why did you keep quiet all this time? Why didn't you have them arrested? Well, I kept quiet all of this time because I felt so much shame. I'm scared for my life. I don't know if I'll walk outside or if I'll be in a restaurant and be followed home. I don't know if I'm safe, because the people who abused me know where I stay currently. And it helped me immensely to share this with the people around me. But now I've gotten to a point where I'm ready to speak about it like this publicly, because a lot of people will say, you know, why now? Why did you keep quiet all this time? Why didn't you have them arrested? Well, I kept quiet all of this time because I felt so much shame for being in that situation and being so powerless. I hate feeling powerless. I felt anger towards myself in some parts because I felt like there was something that I must have done to cause this to happen. And then in parts because I couldn't help my partner to change or to see a better path. And then in other parts because I knew that they were they would get support. People would understand. People would justify this. People would be on their side. As for not getting them arrested, well, I regret it. I do. I didn't get my abusers arrested for many reasons. And this is common amongst victims. I've come to learn that I'm not the only one. And there are many, many reasons. To share some of mine, and I'm sharing these only because, you know, I want you to understand. And if you're going through anything that is even remotely similar, you have to understand that you are not alone. You're not the only person who's been through the situation. And there are ways to deal with it. There are ways to deal better with it. I hope that someone out there will be listening and knowing to walk away and to take action. Some of the reasons I didn't get my abusers arrested were, I thought, oh, he's mentally unstable. He won't be okay. He's going to get worse in jail. I thought, I have a child with him. What will I tell my child one day that I got his father arrested? I didn't want to think of that day coming. I thought, I've been to police stations before, and I find them to be toxic environments where humiliation, sensitivity to such issues there is no sensitivity to such issues at any police station that I've ever been to, and a lot of people will relate. There's no human touch, there's no understanding. Sometimes you will go into a police station and there won't even be a female that you can talk to. The humiliation I speak of is not only being humiliated within that police space where I would have to tell a personal story, a deeply personal and hurtful story, but I considered the humiliation that I would face after reporting the case, when it goes to court, when the newspapers are involved, when the tabloids are involved, again, when it's all just entertainment for everybody. I didn't want my personal life to be anyone's entertainment. Furthermore, I felt like leaving was enough. I thought, well, I'm out of the relationship, I've survived, I'm proud, I'm victorious, I'm happier without the person, and so that is enough. I have to say, I am flawed in that regard. I don't think it's enough to just leave. I do think it's important to take action. I do think it's important to report the cases, because this is why men who are abusers walk around freely in our communities, in our schools, in our workplaces. They live amongst us and they thrive amongst us, because there are no repercussions and there are no consequences most of the time for abusers, especially in South Africa. Our justice system does not go all the way through to prosecution. Case dockets go missing, and we hear of this all the time, and every time you hear about a story like that, you imagine taking yourself through the humiliation of reporting a case and opening a case, only for it to disappear, only for him to not be prosecuted, to come back into society and be integrated and be treated with kid gloves and be understood and be cared for and to have a voice. Abusers have very loud voices in our society because there are no consequences for their actions. In hindsight, do I wish I reported the case and followed through with it? Yes. Do I wish I had my abusers arrested? Yes. But I just didn't have the energy to go through trying to follow through with their punishment. I was so low in terms of my self-esteem. I was not taking care of myself. I was just going through every day as if, let me just finish this. Let me just show up for the show. Let me just go to the shoot. Let me just carry on with life, only to go home and be miserable. My energy was so depleted, fighting the actual abuse. And then after I had left the relationship, my energy was spent fighting to heal. I wanted to heal so badly. I wanted to forgive. I wanted to be a mother who would not raise my child in bitterness and anger. I was so determined to fall in love with myself again. And thank God I dedicated myself to that mission, because I've never been happier. My child is happy. My niece, who I'm also raising, is a happy girl. I never will have to endure a day where my niece is seeing me victimized like that. My son is seeing me victimized like that. I would rather explain to my son why I made the choices that I made than to have him see me being beaten up and bear the risk of him in turn learning abuse as a behavior, as a coping mechanism, as a way of life. I refused for that to happen. I also have come to a decision that my son doesn't have to hear my story from everywhere or everyone else except me. I will always be honest. In fact, every sphere of my life from now on, I'm living honestly, I'm living openly, I'm living freely, I'm living positively. And if you expect anything less from me but the truth, please, you're not going to get it. I'm glad I've made the decisions that I've made. And going through these circumstances has made me realize my power. I'm thankful to God that I'm thankful to God that I found the courage to leave. I'm thankful that I had options. I was able to move away and still be financially secure and still be able to raise my kid in a safe environment where I have food every day and a roof over my head. I know that many women suffer in silence because they don't have those options. I want to implore you, if you're in an abusive relationship, walk away. Women are dying. Every day we read of intimate partner violence ending in death. Not in tears, not in heartbreak, in death. Save your life, save yourself, and leave. There are organizations out there are people out there, individuals, who would be willing to help you if you just tell someone and leave. Make an attempt to save yourself and save your children and grow in love. May we not be the generation where our children watch for years as we get abused. May we be a generation that chooses safe spaces over toxic relationships, over ubegezela, over the achievement of marriage. May we choose ourselves so that we can flourish. So coming to why I felt like I needed to get this out of my chest. Firstly, I don't want my son to ever hear my story from the mouths of others, whether I'm in his life or not. When he's old enough to understand, he'll be able to watch this video and know exactly what happened and why I did what I did and why I made the decisions that I made. He will know and he will hear from me. Secondly, I've never been happier. I mean, I'm flourishing. I'm glowing. I'm happy. I have sisters, friends, cousins, aunts around me who offer me so much support, even work colleagues, who offer me so much support that I wish I had told them sooner. I wish I told them the first time it happened. Because if I had, it might not have gotten to a point where I'm scared for my life. I walk on eggshells in my own house, in my own home, and to a point where even the kids see me getting hit. It might not have gotten to that point if I spoke sooner. The sooner you leave, the better. So, if you ever wonder where I stand on gender-based violence, know this. I stand with women. I stand with victims. I believe Black women first before asking what they did to deserve it. We all deserve joy. We all deserve happiness. We all deserve a glow up. And if you know you are not where you are meant to be, you're in a toxic space, try to ask for help. Try to speak out and see how beautiful life can be when you choose yourself over protecting an abusive partner. It's never a bad idea. This video that I'm making now, I'm not going to take follow-up questions on it. I'm not going to take interviews about my personal life. I'm just putting out my story, my truth out loud so I can free myself, so that everybody who thinks that I don't know how to speak for myself can know that I can, and I can stand up for myself, and I have. And that's why I survived, and that's why I left. I survived. I left. I flourish. I'm happy. Going forward, my stories will be told in my music and only in my music. I'm not going to take interviews about this, about anything, any aspect of my personal life going forward. My music is going to tell my stories right now. And this, hence the album being called My Side of the Story. If you ever wonder where I stand, this is the kind of album that will clarify exactly that. And that is where my stories will live from now on. Outside of my family, my friends, and my loved ones that I will live honestly with, and I will always share what's going on in my relationships with, because I've learned that hiding those as secrets can put me in a vulnerable position. To keep my power and my strength, to protect my energy, to stay positive. I'm not going to be the kind of person who answers to Twitter, who answers to Instagram comments, who answers to Facebook comments, asking me about my personal life for entertainment purposes. What I will do is continue to share good music, is continue to inspire and continue to motivate, because that is what I was born for. That is my life's purpose, is to make people happy. And I plan to do it in every single way that God leads me to. I have received everything I have ever asked for in my life. I don't take it for granted. I don't take your support for granted. And with this, I only intend to claim back my power and use my voice for a change. Not be a victim who is suffering in silence, who is scared to speak because of further victimization. I know that even after this video, I will be victimized further by people who believe that there has to be a justification for abuse. But I don't care. I'm going to live positively. I'm going to flourish. I'm going to keep the bad energy far, far away. And I'm going to share good music with you, because you've embraced me for all of these years. And I thank you so much, because there were many times where being at a performance, being at a show, being with people that appreciate my work has kept me sane, has kept me from losing my mind, literally, have changed my mood and my outlook on life. I now know that I am born for a way bigger purpose, and I pray that God reveals it to me every single day, but then I stay thankful for what I already have. And so I will keep working hard. I will keep sharing with you, and let's keep on dancing. I'll also share the numbers, the contact details of a couple of organizations I know that you can reach out to if you need help. If you need to speak to someone and you don't want to speak to someone who knows you, you want to speak to a stranger who's not going to judge you. If you want to consider options of where you can get away to and how. If you consider legal action but you can't afford it, I'm going to share as much contact details as I can. And also, if you do know of more, please, let's share. Let's be there for each other. At this point, it looks like we only have each other. And to the men, first of all, abusers, you are disgusting to the core. Rapists, you deserve death. But to the men who are constantly reminding us that there are some good men and not all men violate, it's no longer enough just to say, well, I don't abuse, so it's not all of us. Yes, we know. We know it's not all of you. It's not enough to say, well, I don't do it, so, you have to do more. What are you doing to protect the women in your life, the women that you know are being raped or abused in any form, are being violated in any shape or form? You have to step out of your comfort zone to protect women. We need you. We need you. We are powerless to protect ourselves. The good men who are constantly asking, what can I do? Call out your friends, your brothers, your cousins that you see abusing women. Tell them, I see you, you are wrong, you are not going to do this on my watch. When you see gender-based violence happening at any point, at any place, whether it's in your community, whether it's at a club you are going out to, at a festival, anywhere you see it happening, step in. We need you. We are powerless to protect ourselves. We will continue to speak, we'll continue to shout, we'll continue to ask the government to put better legislation in place and to see it through to prosecution, and justice must be served. We will continue to shout all of those things in the mountaintops, but we need you on a day-to-day basis. When you see a woman in a vulnerable position, step in and do something, because there is nothing an abuser is more afraid of than someone their own size. So step in, guys. It's not enough to say, I don't abuse, so congratulate me. There's nothing to congratulate there. The honorable thing to do is to step in and voice out your disdain for abuse, even if you know that your friends are doing it, even if you know your brothers are doing it, your fathers, your uncles are doing it. Voice it out. Make abusers feel uncomfortable. Protect us. Every chance you get, protect us. And yeah, that's me. In case you wonder where I stand, this album literally makes it absolutely clear. There's no time now to be a pick-me. There's no time to be a people pleaser. There's no time now to create neutral messages where, oh, I don't want men to feel uncomfortable. If you're an abuser, you will feel uncomfortable listening to my album. That much I can tell you. If you're a rapist, you will be uncomfortable listening to my album. And people are dying. Some are dying while living. Some are losing their sense of self, their self-esteem, their sense of purpose in the world. Women are nurturers by nature. Women are nurturers, and we want to see things and people around us grow and develop and come into being. And we cannot operate as nurturers when we are oppressed by being violated. So, if you are an abuser and you happen to know me personally, I will make you uncomfortable and I will cut you out of my life. In the meantime, be there for someone who's being abused. Stop this thing of judging people and saying, oh, you must have done this. Oh, you're a gold digger, that's why you're taking it. I took care of the men who were abusing me. They still did it because that's a them problem. The problem is with the men, and it needs to be addressed for what it is. As for me, personally, I let go of any shame, any bitterness, any anger that I've had, because thank God I found myself. Thank God I learned to love myself and choose myself over a pretty picture or a handsome man. Thank God. God bless you. Thank you. Let's enjoy the music.